What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Coach Ken from Giving It a Try. It is going into week 19 of 2025. Another quick weekly talk, again, meant for my coached athletes, but mostly keep them public just because I think people get some good stuff out of it. I've been turning these into more of a preview for other things like the podcasts that are coming out and just general things that come up with athletes and just side talk that we have. And then I make some notes throughout the week, throw them out here. So if you tune in for the first time, that's what we got. And we'll keep it pretty brief tonight because we have a lot of things coming out the pipe this week with it, to catch up with some things. But what do we got going on is a huge weekend recap on the coaching side of things. I had an athlete on Saturday punch her ticket for her first 50K ultra marathon up in Connecticut. Fantastic. 10 months of dedicated, consistent work. Congratulations to her. You can see her shout out on Instagram. And as well, we're going to have a big medal Monday because it was Long Island Marathon weekend. And the athletes that we had doing it, I mean, they basically all crushed their goals. We had a first time marathoner come across the finish line. We also had another athlete who did a 13.1, one of her best in several years and best since we started working together in the 13.1 distance. She's a veteran at the sport. As well, we had actually, we had a gentleman that PR'd his 5K, 5 mile, 10 mile, 10K, and 13.1 splits this weekend on the race day and crushed his pacing goal. So, congratulations. We also had another athlete who battled back from a really bad ankle injury in November. She ran the half last year. Did amazing, and then still PR'd it this year, even coming back from that ankle injury. So that was pretty awesome as well. And a couple top performances as well, close to PRs for myself and another athlete. As far as myself, shooting for that 130 magical number right now for the sub, 130, 13.1. Just missed it again, but I'm literally working on basically one of the next podcast episodes. If hopefully I can get it out tomorrow, will be kind of just a recap of the whole weekend, the races, the 13.1. And what's really awesome about it is I'm going to dive into the numbers and you'll understand why that's important, especially from the coaching side of things is not just that I use these numbers for myself and verify these numbers, and we'll get into that when that podcast comes out, but using it as well for the athletes. So if you are looking for these peak performances and these top performances, having certain data be accurate leading into these races, I can almost basically really predict what they're going to do at certain distances. So it's pretty cool, and I'll have a bunch of examples on that. So make sure you tune in. So it's kind of a prequel to that. That's why I wanted to get this video out before the podcast comes out, because you definitely want to check that out because it's going to be some interesting stuff in there as well. And it just works when the data works and you put in the work that you got to do for the race and you have a smart day out there and you execute the plan from start to finish. Just a magical day. So it was a really awesome weekend, and driving home after it and hanging out with some of the athletes afterwards, it really like hit on the way home. Like thinking about, I didn't dig into the numbers yet with their results. I just did that a little while ago, but kind of having an idea and saw how they felt afterwards and just how they felt. They were excited. They were, super, impressed with themselves and their performance out there. But that's nothing, again, with the coaching side of things. A coach can give you the best plan in the world laid out start to finish, but it is inevitably at the end of the day on the athlete to be smart, be consistent, be dedicated, and get the training done in a smart manner that is laid out without straying too far off the path and, just kind of winging it sometimes. So congratulations to them. Definitely more of that will be coming out. Check out the Metal Monday there on Instagram. And then as well, I'll recap that on a special podcast that's going to come out this week. Moving on to a few other things that I just wrote down over the past 2-3 weeks or so that I haven't hit yet. I get often asked a lot from athletes and just other people in general. Preference on smart devices, Garmin, Coros, just kind of like when people are in the market for a smartwatch, when I onboard them as an athlete, if they don't have one, they ask. For myself, I'm a Garmin guy just because I think it suits more for the multi-sport endurance world, because Garmin cycling computers, Zwift, the cycling platform, interacts seamlessly with Garmin. So there's just a lot of interoperability across all the platforms for multisport. But now Koros, on the other hand, I don't have any firsthand knowledge on it, but Coach Ryan, who's been on, he's a very big proponent of Koros. A lot of my trail running people that I go run with, they're very big on Koros as well. So either or will get you what you need really for the running side of things. If you want to go more into multi-sport, I would recommend the Garmin ecosystem for that. So that's where I kind of stand with that. It was just a fun comment that I get and a question a bunch from people. Another question I got, and this is again maybe for people that are newer in multi-sport or cycling and things like that, that may not know the difference between some of these things. I think it should be public in the YouTube channel. If you go back, is a kind of a video on cycling in general. If I don't have it public, I'll put it public sometime soon. Is kind of like start to finish, beginner to expert guide on all things cycling. And I talk about road bikes versus TT, time trial bikes, triathlon bikes, and why in the Tour de France you don't see cyclists using time trial bikes or TT bikes, these bikes that you see out there on the triathlon course. Because you may get into Ironman, triathlon. People say, oh, you see all see these tri bikes. You know, tri bike is the main thing out there. But the thing that we need to remember is Tour de France is a drafting legal type race. Cycling racing, when it's drafting legal, is it's road bikes. They're a lot more easier to handle and pack. They're a lot safer. You know, you're on the hoods, you're on the the brake system for that a little bit more often. And you'll even see on big group rides that go out, like set group rides out on the road. Sometimes they don't even want or allow TT or time trial bikes because they don't want you really in the aero position right behind somebody in case you need to make a quick maneuver or something like that. So for me, when I do group rides out on the roads, same thing. I always like my road bike. To me, it's a lot more controllable. It's a lot more user-friendly, nimble, lighter. But when I'm looking to be out there solo, time trialing, triathlon type stuff, non-draft legal, obviously, yes, then the TT bike will be the most efficient way to be out there on that. So it was just a fun question that an athlete had. So I thought, I would answer it up on here as well since our conversation about it. Here's another one too, and I'm going to definitely deep dive onto this more in another talk going forward soon, is some of the things that plague runners frequently. And it's two of them have happened to me in the past. If you've listened to some of the past podcasts on things, is plantar fasciitis and IT band syndrome. They're two of the most common things that flare up in runners. And often, it may not be preventable. It may just can happen at any point to anybody, but there are some things that we can do to limit the possibility of it. And if you're more prone to it or if you've had these issues in the past, it's super important to stay on top of them because as you'll hear when I do the talk on it, it really is something that you need to stay ahead of on that. For plantar fasciitis, the biggest thing with that for me was stretching and maintaining mobility in my calves and my Achilles, because usually it's something further up the chain that's going to be bothering you for that. It plagued me at the beginning when it was more of an overuse thing for me. It was just I was running too hard, too often. My body wasn't used to it yet. I really didn't ease into it. And along the same time, same year, I also had IT band issues, IT band syndrome, which was an excruciating pain on the side of my knee. And that was alleviated with some posterior chain work. I wasn't really doing the strength training I needed to do at the time. So my posterior chain, glutes, hamstrings, they weren't firing, and that was causing my quad to be more quad dominant and my IT bands to just be aggravated and inflamed. So these are things that unfortunately sometimes you just have to deal with in order to understand that they suck. But when you work through it, the big part is learning from it and understanding that you need to keep up with these things when they feel good. So, and I tell my athletes all the time is, especially foot health, knee down health is huge for runners, meaning stretching the calves, working with strengthening your Achilles, all the intrinsic feet muscles. I use toe spacers for all my stretching. If I'm doing strength training at home, I'll usually try and do it barefoot with my toe spacers as well. And even when I feel good, I still stretch. It's something that I do often now, and it doesn't have to be very much. 10 or 15 minutes every day, every other day. I like to do it before bed. Kind of makes me feel a lot better in the morning if I'm able to stretch things out before bed. And I do a lot of work on my calves and just keeping them loose as well and doing strength training as well below the knee, calf raises and things like that. And it's really helped, knock on wood, since I had those issues a few years back. They haven't really flared up. From time to time when my mileage increases, Yes, my plantar will start to be a little sore and inflamed, but I just keep working with that, rolling it out on a lacrosse ball from time to time, and just getting ahead of it before it becomes too much of an issue. So those are two big things that I would definitely work on: is that posterior chain activation and strength, and as well that below knee work, and that strength training and stretching for the calves and everything else below. Again, it was an amazing weekend, fantastic. I just want to congratulate everybody out there and all the people all my friends and other teammates out there that I was able to see this weekend. It was great seeing everybody. It's just, that big like Super Bowl of half marathons there on Long Island. It really was special to see everybody. We had a great weather day on it, and that's really all I got for now. I just wanted to get this out there and again get a big congrats on the board before the official end of the weekend here. And tune in this week. There's going to be a bunch of stuff shooting out. I'm going to catch up on a lot of the stuff, coaching side of things, and a bunch of recordings and all that stuff. So again, I want to congratulate everybody. Outstanding work. It's truly, again, I think I mentioned in one of my last episodes or something. Don't let the highs stay high too long. Enjoy it, revel in the fact that you just did awesome stuff, and then get back into it, and then just keep grinding forward. And if you're any of you out there training right now that may be lacking some motivation or in a low point, totally natural also. Don't stay in it. Reset yourself, get back out there, get back to baseline, and then continue pushing forward. So for now, everybody, I want you to stay safe, stay healthy, keep balancing that life 1 mile at a time, and I'll catch you all on the next one.